Texas Motor Speedway, the Great American Speedway here in Fort Worth. There's Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, the race leader. Until today, the most laps he'd led here at Texas, 85 back in 2002 when he won the race. But already today, Matt has led 96 of 108 laps. He runs first, back and forth. Jimmy Johnson. Race fans, visit lowesracing.com today for your chance to win up to $48,000 in the Win Jimmy Wins, You Win sweepstakes. Just visit lowesracing.com for all the details. We can take you through the field. We'll start with Matt Kenseth, and here's Marty Snyder.
That's a nice, easy Sunday drive for Matt Kenseth so far, leading all these laps except for 12. They've used their final test of 2005 to get ready for this race. Obviously, it worked. Car out front, looking nice and easy. Alan?
Tony Stewart a little bit frustrated, I think, at not being able to get around Matt Kenseth and lead a lap for those bonus points. His crew chief, Greg Zipadelli, telling Tony a bit ago to just save his stuff. This race kind of has a green flag look to it, and they got to make sure they've got some tires left at the end of the run. Dave?
Kyle Busch's car was tight and loose. He said it wouldn't turn the corner, and then when I got to the end of the corner, it would go whoop toward the wall. That was his description. They made an adjustment for that. Matt?
Now, earlier in the race, Jimmy Johnson's car was a little bit on the edgy side. The takeoff, though, was good and then went a little bit tight. But as you can see by looking at the top six with 5 chasers there, Jimmy said this year, the chase, you have to be almost perfect.
The hardest part is just been really to perform every week. I mean, everybody keeps stepping it up, and it's so tough to gain a lot of points on anyone. So I'm really amazed how every team, you've got the Roush cars to 20, everybody has just been so strong, and that's been the challenge. You can't be off one weekend, you'll lose too many points.
On their last stop, Chad Canals and the Lowe's boys, they pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear and a small air pressure adjustment, Dave. That car running very solid.
Not solid right now for Mark Martin, Matt. He said, I don't like it on this run. Change the air pressure back to the way it was. Change the wedge back to the way it was. They're basically wanting to start back at ground zero, back at square one where they were before, to see if they can get a reading on this car. Alan?
Well, with the exception of Matt Kenseth, who's done all the leading, the drive of the day goes to Carl Edwards. 30th now, up to 6th. Already planning what they're going to do on their next pit stop. Carl constantly in conversation with his crew chief, Bob Osborne. Matt?
And running back in 7th, the 41, Casey Mears says must be something on the grill because the water temperature is climbing quickly. The car, though, he says, is very close where it needs to be as far as setup. Just need to free it up just a tick, Alan.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has slipped back a few spots in this last run of the race, Matt. He is complaining about his car not turning as well as he'd like it to in the center of the corner. That's keeping him from getting into the gas as quickly as he'd like, and that costs a lot of ground here. Marty?
Alan, Rusty Wallace trying to snap a 3-race freak without a top 10. His car's been loose, but he wanted to pull some tape off on the last stop. Larry Carter, crew chief, talked him out of that because it's going to get cooler tonight. They'll need that tape on the front grill instead. They went with a wedge adjustment, trying to tighten him up. The car's been better, though. Matt?
Brian Vickers has really picked it up in the second half of the season, improving his average finish by 9 spots. Right now, the car starts out really loose on new tires, but then slowly gets better and better. Just a little tight in the center, especially in traffic, Snyder.
Denny Hamlin has a well-handling race car, Matt, but the problem was their pit stop came in 6th and out 12th. A lug nut hung on the right front. The car's a little bit tight. They made an air pressure and track bar adjustment on the last stop, trying to slowly work his way through the field. Dave?
Marty, I think when you talked with Kevin Harvick earlier today, starting 33rd, you thought he might have a chance to move his way toward the front. He's certainly done that. He's had a car that's had trouble turning, but they've made some adjustments. He's all the way up to the 12th position. Marty, back to you.
Yeah, good job for Martin Truex Jr. today, Dave. Started 27th. Currently, he's up in the 13th position. The car right on the bottom line. That's exactly where Martin wants it. On the last stop, they made no changes because Martin said, I don't think we can make it any better, guys. Dave?
Kurt Busch's car has not been that great today. I asked Jimmy Fenning this morning, how are you leading now that the championship is pretty much out of the question? And he said, you know what? We're still just trying to win and move as far up in the points as we can. And Kurt has that attitude, too. He's a racer. Marty?
Well, Dave, remember earlier we told you how Elliott Sadler was not happy with his race team, said we need to make some drastic changes on this next stop, so they obliged 4 different rounds of wedge in and out of that race car. On the last stop, it has come to life. Also an air pressure adjustment. He's up in 15th, Matty.
Marty, just the opposite for Sterling Marlin, one of the Ganassi drivers. He runs in the 16th position. No change to the car is really good. Let's just ride it for a while. Meanwhile, his teammate, the 42, Jimmy Murray, trying to lock down that $1 million bonus for finishing 11th. They made some small changes on the last stop. Just a track bar and air pressure. The car was a little loose on entry. And Dale Jarrett trying to score one more win here at Texas in the 88 car. The car's a little bit tight from the center to exit. Marty?
Well, Matt, Jeff Gordon's still struggling with his tight race car. Here's what they did on the last stop. It took them 20 seconds, and here's why. They put a spring rubber in the right rear spring, pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear spring, and fixed that valence where Kyle Busch hit him earlier. Jeff radioed to the crew a little while ago, said, you know what, guys? We're halfway there, almost. Dave?
Michael Waltrip asked crew chief Tony Gibson, hey, can you help my car turn a little bit better? Boy, did he. It was way too loose at the start of that run. It's coming to him a little bit now, but he said don't go that far next time. Alan?
Ken Schrader has come about halfway up through the field from his 41st starting spot. Schrader earlier in the race called in, said they had an exhaust leak and the engine was down on horsepower. Then just after the last pit stop, he said, can you believe it somehow fixed itself? Ryan Newman complaining about the handling of his car, saying just a few minutes ago that his car is really tight in the center of the corners, and then calling in a little bit later and saying now it's loose entering the corners. Well, that means he's afraid to turn the steering wheel when he gets into the corner, that the back end's going to spin out. Dave?
When Greg Biffle brought out the caution on lap 81, Mike Bliss slid into the grass, didn't get hit by anybody, but just trying to miss the whole thing, lost control of his car. They were on pit road, made any little repairs they needed to, got him back out. He stays in the lead lap. Matt?
And Ricky Rudd rounding out the top 25 in the 21 car. Now, Fatback McSwain told me last night, he said, we have a very good car. It's just not quick on the get-go, but it's very consistent. And that's exactly what it's shown today. Just still a little bit on the tight side, Snyder.
Matt, a good little race there between Ricky Rudd and Kyle Petty, and Kyle's been running much better, and that's good to see the 45 car running up front. He's been a little bit tight, but he said, you know what happens? We give up so much ground in the beginning of the run with our car being loose. That's how these guys get so far away from us. Lap times, not too bad, and he repasses Ricky Rudd for 24th. Bill?
Thanks, guys. Those are the top 25 cars. There are 33 cars on the lead lap. The first car scored one lap down is Greg Biffle. So if the caution was to come out, Biffle right now would get their lucky dog. Everyone chasing Matt Kenseth at Texas. Transform the way you watch NASCAR. NBC and Sony HD TV proudly present today's race in high definition. Matt Kenseth leads by 1.2 seconds over Tony Stewart. 127, now 128 laps complete.
We see Kenseth going around in turn one. Before race, he's picked up some points positions, but I've been watching the score monitor, and I tell you, the fellow back in fourth place, Casey Mears, showing a lot of speed. Last time by, he was a quarter of a second faster than Matt Kenseth. Nemechek, the 0-1 car, is already down one lap. He will be two down when we get. Whoa! Wow, what's that all about?
I think he might think he has a problem.
There comes a
Casey Mears, yeah.
41 car. And he is Matt, 41 car going to town.
BP, he's really moving to the front. In fact, when you look at the lap times, one of the fastest race cars, even into the 30s now. You look at the roller coaster week he had last week in Atlanta, but he has really looked strong on these type of racetracks. He loves these high-speed racetracks. The last 6 races, this team has really come on, scoring 3 top 10s, a 10th at Dover, 8th at Kansas, and a 6th at Charlotte. It was the 6 and the 99 teammates battling for position.
Wasn't much of a battle, Matt. 99 just goes by Mark Martin. Carl Edwards takes that spot away.
I think like the guys are talking about, Mark's not really happy with what he's got right now.
No. And you know, everyone was so optimistic this morning about the 6 car. Felt like he was going to be the car to beat. It's not working out exactly the way they had it, drew it up on the drawing board.
How about it, Dave?
And Bill, he even thought he might have had some contact on the right side of that car that would have caused the handling to go away, a dent. But, you know, just a small dent of some sort. He asked his spotter, Eddie Pardue, take a good close look at it and see if you see anything. And Eddie said, no, I think you're okay. So it must just be the adjustments that they've done to this car. And again, as I mentioned, they're going to try to take him back out on the next stop.
Mark is about 8.5 seconds behind Matt Kenseth. There's Jack Roush. He owns the 6 car. And the 99 along with the 17 and the others you see there. What are you working on, Alan?
Just listening to Carl Edwards there a second, Bill, and this unlikely pursuit of a championship continues with a very strong run today. His spotter Bobby Hudson just told him over the last 10 laps you've gained about 10 car lengths on the leader Matt Kenseth. His crew chief Bob Osborne followed up and told him he's running about a half to a full 10th of a second quicker than the leader each of these last laps. He keeps chipping away.
Well,
Still not running as fast as that 41 car, because Casey Mears is going.
We could be approaching some green flag pit stops here at Texas, so we'll work in a break right here. If trouble breaks out, we'll break in. You're watching NASCAR live on NBC.
You know, we're getting to the point in the season now where, you know, a win's not as important as just beating the guys that we're racing for the championship with.
I hope I have it all figured out. We'll find out before long.
Just if the caution flags fall when they need to, and we have a good run, not make any mistakes, I think we'll be in good shape.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Here we are being introduced to the rest of the world.
Okay, now, I do want you to notice, folks, that that is a wave from our Marty to the crowd when the crowd went wild.
So now it's driver and pit reporter introductions during the pre-race ceremonies, huh? But he brought Matt Kenseth some good luck. Marty wants to add, but that's too bad. We're not going to let him.
No. My microphone's open, Weber. I was waving to all of your fans, Weber, and those two people asked me to wave to them. So that's it. Here you go, folks.
That was cheap. That was you had 140 laps to work on it, and that's the best thing you could come up with?
This is the first I've heard about this, Weber.
Yes.